rainfall warning for parts of southern Alberta may be over, but that doesn't mean there was a lot of it earlier today. Upwards of 26 millimeters has fallen in the Lethbridge region over the last 24 hours. Dory Rossiter has more in the forecast coming up. Today on the CTV News at 5, charges have been downgraded in a Lethbridge man's death. Plus, how Lethbridge students flash mobbed their principal. And a fitting photo from a Bulls Memorial baseball game that's getting attention from across the country.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. 3 women are now facing charges after a fight broke out in the stands during a Spud League hockey game in Lethbridge earlier this year. Police say they started an investigation in February after an incident at the Adams Ice Arena. Started when one of the women raised concerns about obscene language being used around the kids. There was punching, hair pulling. One of the women was kicked after being knocked to the ground. Bystanders helped to break up the fight, but another woman was hit in the face. Video of the incident was used to help identify some of the people involved. 34-year-old Tanya Lenny Daychief and 54-year-old Theta Daychief, both of Standoff, along with 24-year-old Tamara Margaret Daychief of Glenwood, are facing 1 count of assault each. They are scheduled to appear in court on June the 19th. A Medicine Hat man is facing charges in connection with a disturbing case of a sexual assault involving young males. Police allege that a man offered food, money, alcohol, even prescription medication to his victims in exchange for sexual activity. They say some of the young people were developmentally delayed. Medicine Hat police began investigating in early May and say they laid charges on May the 11th. 63-year-old Fernand Gagnon is facing a number of counts, including sexual counsel of a child, sexual contact with a child, sexual assault, as well as trafficking. The investigation is continuing, and police are urging the public to come forward if they know or have any other information on victims. Gagnon is in custody. He will make his next court appearance on June the 4th. It was an argument that turned deadly, and 2 men accused of killing an acquaintance last summer in Lethbridge were back in court today. The body of 47-year-old Michael Powell was discovered in a South Lethbridge apartment last July. Police allege 2 men had been visiting the home when they got into a dispute that turned deadly. 25-year-old Kelsey Prairie Chicken and 27-year-old Brandon Brown were originally charged with second-degree murder. But then today, a new charge was entered, and it's expected that the 2 men will plead guilty to manslaughter during their next court appearance. The original charge has not yet been withdrawn, but lawyers say they expect to make a joint submission and to resolve the case when the accused come back in mid-June. Both men will remain in custody until then. A High River truck driver is facing charges after his semi-trailer unit collided with a building in the Crow's Nest Pass. RCMP and past firefighters were called to the Crow's Nest Center around 1:30 in the morning, found the truck had hit a corner of the building. The truck was hauling a load of car batteries. Fire officials say the trailer was crushed, but the load, it wasn't impacted. The batteries were damaged. A tow truck had to be called in to lift the semi-trailer from the building. The load of batteries had to be transferred to a new trailer to resume shipment. 55-year-old driver wasn't injured. He's been charged with careless driving. Dora, you said it was going to rain, and it did. Not a big surprise.
No, it's not a big surprise, but the surprise is that we're going to have a reprieve. And when you look outside now, it's like this will never end is what it looks like. But really, the taps are going to be turned off for a very brief period. It looks like all of Saturday and much of Sunday, although there's still that risk of shower activity. But then we've got another system coming in on Monday. Yeah. Keep the umbrella handy. There's more to come. I'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Okay, Dory. Thank you. Alberta's ombudsman is traveling through southern Alberta this week in an effort to raise public awareness about the office, which investigates complaints of unfair treatment by provincial departments, agencies, and boards.
Doing some public presentations like this.
The Ombudsman investigated more than 60 complaints in southern Alberta last year. Provincially, the highest number of complaints were about Alberta Human Services. Other departments that received a high volume of complaints were the Solicitor General's Department, Workers' Compensation Board, and Alberta Justice. The Ombudsman investigates as a neutral third party and has the authority to make recommendations if it's determined that people have been dealt with unfairly.
We're on this tour of this portion of the province because we want to increase the awareness that Albertans have about the Ombudsman Office in Alberta. We want people to be comfortable to know that we are there and we can help in certain respects if they have been treated unfairly by the government.
People must have exhausted all other appeals and all other avenues before the Ombudsman will become involved. But representatives say they'll also help people through the process if they're unsure where they stand. Investigators from the office met with 9 people in Lethbridge today. They were in Medicine Hat yesterday. Quite a turn of events at a meeting in Edmonton involving persons with developmental disabilities. It certainly didn't go as planned. Tactical team officers were called in just before 4 o'clock yesterday. Edmonton police received reports that a man with a weapon allegedly made threats towards Minister Frank Oberle at a meeting of about 500 people. The Minister of Services for Persons with Disabilities was taken out of the room. 2 arrests were made. 1 man has been released. Charges are pending against the other.
I feel horrible that I was the one that walked him out into that. But I had to think about the safety of the rest of the people in the room too. So I walked him out and I walked him right into the arms of the police. And now I get to call his mother and tell her I had her son arrested.
I understand and respect the passion that people have. This is a difficult issue. I don't deny that. But I'm going to continue. I did continue today, and I'm going to continue with my meetings across the province.
Well, by Friday noon, more than 1,400 University of Lethbridge students will officially receive their degrees in the 2013 spring convocation ceremony. Jeanette Rocher reports.
It was a ceremony of tradition and a celebration of a long road traveled. These grads reaching academic milestones that less than 7% of the world's population has ever achieved. Marvin Smith is no stranger to this stage. Today, he was handed his 3rd degree from the U of L, graduating with a master's in education.
You know, I love teaching. It's always, every day is a challenge, but it's also very rewarding.
This graduate is off to pursue a master's degree in Calgary in the fall.
The university campus life is fantastic. I absolutely loved it.
That's good. How do you feel today?
I feel good. I feel kind of relieved. 1 down, 1 more to go, really.
Had a great time, learned a lot. It's definitely bittersweet feelings leaving here. This was 5 years in the making, so I'm very happy to have it done, but I'm going to look back with fond memories.
From bachelors of arts to doctorates in philosophy, about 700 degrees were handed out in this first of 4 convocations.
I present Dr. Richard Cassidy.
Receiving an honorary Doctor of Laws degree, Rick Casson has served Southern Alberta for decades, beginning as a volunteer firefighter, then moving into politics as mayor of Picture Butte, then MP for Lethbridge. He's worked at the university for 27 years, but this is his first time ever walking on this stage.
You know, 27 years without a degree, now they've given me one. And I didn't earn it as hard as these students here today earned it, but it sure feels good.
And despite the challenges the university has faced in recent months with provincial budget cuts, today was about celebrating accomplishments and looking to new beginnings.
At the end of the day, this is about trying to create opportunities for young people. And so while we have some budget challenges, the fact that we can graduate 1,400 students means that we're still moving in the right direction.
Jeanette Rocher, CTV News, Lethbridge.
An important school board meeting was interrupted this morning by a 2nd grade student who simply said, "You all have to come with us." She then led the group to the gymnasium of Victoria Park High School, and what happened next is inside the story from Daryl Rummold.
They've been preparing for this moment for more than 2 weeks. Their vice principal should have known something was up when his students told him, "Today's a completely normal day. Nothing exciting is happening this afternoon." But that was a lie worthy of detention, if not for the reason behind it. As Greg Wheeler entered the gymnasium, students cheered. Then they danced. It was their way of showing their teacher, who's set to retire in June, how much he's meant to their schools and lives.
He actually teaches gym around the school, and he's really fun and happy, and I just like having him around.
He doesn't really expect much from us. He really lets us have fun, and he lets us kind of be a little goofy.
Wheeler has been a teacher for 35 years, 14 of those spent at this school. There's been some surprising moments along the way, but never one that's designed just for him.
How do 200 kids keep a secret like that? So special. You know, it's nice to see that the kids were happy. It's nice to see that, you know, the kids were enthusiastic. That's meaningful.
We decided as a group that this would be great to do. We've been doing Intramural Dance Club for probably 6 months now, so the dances that the kids did were ones that they've practiced since before Christmas.
It's been a banner year for Senator Buchanan's school. One teacher was awarded Alberta's Teaching Excellence Award, another the First Year Teaching Prize.
Are you ready?
But it's a teacher in his final year who's made the biggest mark here, and he's leaving with a passing grade. Daryl Rummelt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Wheeler says he has no plans for his retirement, but he'll probably do what his wife tells him to. Time now for a look at the markets, and then Dory's got weather straight after the break.